welcome back. Welcome back to Globecast. Welcome back to our channel. This is host Moonlight. Today we have Alex with us. Alex is the Manager Director at Republic Crypto. And if you want to, stay tuned for more content, if you're engaged with today's video, please stay tuned. Please give us a thumb up and subscribe to the channel or leave a comment down below to show your support. So Alex, welcome to Globecast and so glad to have you around here today. Would you mind giving a bit introduction of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me on. I'm super honored and really love everything that Globe is doing. So a quick introduction about Republic. We started off as a crowdfunding platform back in 2016 that spun out of AngelList. Today, we've grown all the way up to, I think, over 200 employees now with three major arms. The first is the retail arm, which is what you'll find on republic.co, which is our public-facing website. But in addition to that, we have our Republic Capital arm, which does institutional investments into technology companies across sectors. And then you have my team, which is Republic Crypto. We are the smallest team in Republic, and we deal with everything and in terms of the best crypto players in the space.
Interesting, brilliant. And would you also tell us a bit more about how you joined crypto? What's your journey been within kind of this industry?
Yeah, I joined crypto, relatively early or late, depending on who you ask, back in 2017. I started off at a very traditional institutional investor called Top Tier Capital, which was a venture fund of funds. So it would invest in the top venture capitalists in the space. And crypto was a hot topic that summer. And so after looking into that and finding more direct and exciting opportunities in the crypto space, particular with the next firm I moved on to called ZZ Capital, which is a private equity group based out of Hong Kong, but which has its own had its own venture practice in San Francisco, is where I found myself. Republic was the first company that I diligenced and closed in my time at that fund. And it was very clear to me that by the end of 2018, it was sort of my destiny to join the Republic team on the crypto side and come up with the original product suite that Republic would offer on the retail platform for crypto companies. So, but to keep a long story short, a lot has changed since that winter of 2018 and 19, both figuratively and literally. So now the Republic Crypto team operates as a separate arm. And what's awesome about us is that though we started off servicing crowdfunding, the crowdfunding portal, we do so much more now. And what that entails is taking companies at their earliest of stage. And so just by quick background or a quick extra clarity, I run the early stage practice here at Republic Crypto. And my other partners run awesome products that move further down the line in this initiative we have here. And so we start off by taking companies and helping them with their theoretical designs, offering them education and experience in how we've worked with companies both on the regulatory as well as the strategic side of things, both in the United States and beyond. And to date, we've taken on some of the best projects in the layer 1, layer 2, infrastructure, and DeFi space, and increasingly so in the so-called GameFi space. We're partnered with some of the best sort of behemoths in the industry like FTX, Binance, Huobi on the exchange side, as well as a lot of the most prominent layer 1s like Solana, Avalanche, and Polkadot. So that being said, we essentially hold the key to helping companies move through all the way from seed to liquidity in a really smooth and frictionless process.
Thank you so much for sharing. And you said that you're I joined the community a bit later in the days, but actually you're quite an OG member of Republic, right? And you said you and your partner got everything covered, whether it's DeFi, cryptocurrency, it's some of the hottest topics nowadays. And so what is Republic actually investing?
Yeah, so to be clear, Republic invests through a separate entity called Republic Capital, which is where we operate our funds. The ones that are related to crypto, or the one in particular that's related to crypto, is the Republic Crypto Fund. And that will invest in tokens that are part of upcoming and very successful protocols that we believe will have some strategic value for Republic as a whole, and in particular for Republic Crypto. The rest of the Republic Capital arm invests in what we might call traditional VC deals out there, everything from Robinhood to SpaceX, and does so through a mixture of both institutional syndication through SPVs as well as proper fund vehicles.
Wow, impressive. Like you guys actually got everything covered. And I want to ask a question for not just myself, but other audiences, watching the channel as well. So if I were the customer, how do I invest in startups like that I want to, put some investment in? And are there any tips or anything I would have to avoid? Scams, anything?
Yeah, so in regards to our retail-facing platform, wherever you are based in the world, so long as your jurisdiction allows for it, you are able to interact with the Republic's retail arm, or the company the platform you'll see on the URL republic.co. And in that case, every one of our deals is hand-picked and hand-curated. So in terms of companies that you'll see raising on the retail platform, they will all have been rigorously diligenced, both on a legal, financial, and generalist perspective. Their offerings will typically be through primarily a Regulation CF raise, which is what we use in the U.S. to be able to solicit investments from non-accredited investors from all over the world. If you are accredited, then you would be able to participate in some of our accredited offerings through our Reg D platform. And there's a lot more legal jargon to go into, but long story short, if you're international or you're stateside and you're non-accredited, that's our whole mission. And I would go onto republic.co to check out the companies that are being offered there and raising currently.
Yes, guys. So if anyone's interested, please go to republic.co and also stay in touch. We got all the social handles linked down below, and get in touch with Alex or get in touch with Republic for your investment and, more sincere suggestions. Okay, I know Republic has facilitated over about $250 million in investments from over 1 million global community members. So what is the initial idea behind funding these companies?
Yeah, so the vision for us, comes from our fearless leader and founder, Kendrick Nguyen, who back in 2016 spun out of AngelList. He was previously the general counsel at AngelList, which is that's one of the top angel investing platforms, perhaps in the world. And the biggest bottleneck or opportunity here was tapping into full-blown democratization. Because in order to invest in these angel deals in the U.S., you need to be accredited, and so that means you either have to be worth over $1 million, or you have to earn more than $200,000 a year for the past two years or so. And that we felt like was a major limitation. And so Kendrick's vision was to acquire the correct licensing platform, correct license, and be able to have a platform where you could, by following the SEC guidelines, offer these private startup opportunities to the larger population.
Is there a long-term or a short-term plan vision to Republic?
So in the short term, we've in the past few years, we've really focused on building out the U.S. market. And with the recent announcement and closure of our Series B fundraise led by Valor Equity Partners, we are funding two major initiatives. The first is our own digital securities exchange. And then in relation to your question, really focusing on our international expansion, especially into Asia and beyond.
Wow. So you're kind of building this global connection. You're forming this global network, which could link everyone from everywhere together, depending on whether, their jurisdiction would let them. join the community, basically, yeah?
The philosophy is that there should really be no borders, physical or figurative, that help you partake in the growth of these innovations across all types of sectors. So yes, absolutely.
So like, what do you really do as a managing director?
Yeah. So at Republic Crypto, our particular focus at the moment is working with companies we feel like have the most strategic synergy with our existing technology products. The two in particular that we utilize right now are our token sale platform, which is the only token sale fundraising platform that can solicit investments from international and US investors. And we have, I think, approaching 2.2 million KYC individuals from all around the world, skewing internationally on the crypto side, as you might expect. But that's something that we hope to expand into the US as we get more clarity on the regulatory side of things here. The second technology product is what we call our tokenization product. And for those of you who are super crypto native, what that really means today is building out the infrastructure to allow for any protocol, whether that be on the application or infrastructure layer, to create a custom asset on any of the relevant settlement layers. And then for Republic to be able to deliver a no-code management suite for any of these for these teams to be able to manage their token going forward in any level of decentralization they please.
Yeah, like infrastructure, DeFi are like basically trendy words, and they kind of pointing towards the future. And you mentioned about non-coding, like no-code suite. Would you mind expanding a bit more on this?
Yeah, absolutely. We, for the better or worse, a lot of crypto so far has been very insular and not very welcoming to outsiders and to people who are not considered, technologists. Our mission really on the Republic Crypto side is to change that, and we do so both through our in-house initiatives as well as the companies that we back. On that end, when I speak to a no-code management suite, it is to say, when we help a company create its own custom asset and its own on-chain organization to govern those assets, they will not have to write a single line of code in order to actively manage the product. Rather, they'll be delivered a very simple, call it a Web 2.0 dashboard that they'll be able to configure without any programming knowledge, but that which is equipped with every capability that an advanced blockchain engineer might implement themselves.
I think you've basically made the kind of pathway to into crypto a lot easier and a lot more accessible for those like we consider outsiders, people who are not too familiar with the whole concept, which is really, really impressive. But like you mentioned briefly about the regulation that's been going on, not just only in the US, but obviously around the world right now. And I know that the recent news has been stating that Valve has banned all blockchain NFT games from Steam. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, and so far as my own opinion goes, I actually do believe that Valve and Steam, whatever they feel internally, is going to be inconsequential to the future. The change that is coming up, whether they want to help aid it through their proprietary platform or not, is that crypto and these new, what I just call new open financial services are going to be the new infrastructural layer for the next generation to plug into as they increase their amount of time in these digital universes. So whether that be through a social video game or a combat-based one, we see what we are building on the crypto side in the decentralized or open finance world as something that these awesome AAA game studios will be able to plug into seamlessly and securely without trying to build out themselves. And that's where we see the two spaces really married with each other. And I do believe that it will be in the best interests of companies like Valve and their platform Steam to eventually hop on that train as well. Because in our experience, there's always a way to work through if there's a will.
Interesting. And I'm really sure that everyone's super excited, like looking forward to seeing what does the future hold for crypto. So people always talk about, blockchain technology. So what's your opinion on like how blockchain technology could potentially pave the way to a new future, like a new lifestyle?
Yep, absolutely. So I think, at least my thesis here at Republic Crypto is that we're servicing a generation of gamers, players, even just regular people who are going to be spending increasing amount of hours in digital universes, playing games, socializing, and this is the more radical thing, but working. The idea of being able to earn something in a game that can then be exchanged for other goods and services is the semblance of an economy that we're trying to establish, whether or not it happens in a fully digital medium or in a hybrid offline and online medium. And so where I see things in particularly changing is the migration of a lot of the newer generations from traditional bank accounts and savings account, which are giving you pennies of APY on the year, and instead putting their opportunity costs in a better place, earning on their labor on these games and social platforms online, which will, I think, create the new borderless economy that we are envisioning here on the technology side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all know people who gamers, well-known gamers in real life. And in a way that crypto intertwined with this kind of concept is like educational, because people actually get informed and they get engaged and encouraged, by trading or doing any investment on using media as a new agency. And I think it's a really kind of cool and really futuristic concept. So, and I want to talk about what kind of advantages at the same time, does blockchain actually bring for DAPP developers or anyone in the industry?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to counter that question and say that there's a lot of barriers that it currently presents, but that we wish, and a lot of the founders that we support wish to decrease the friction on. A lot of the advantages you can see as a developer if you want to go into blockchain are unfortunately at the moment still barricaded by having to learn new coding languages like Rust or Solidity. And it's really up to a lot of the very incredibly smart folks who are doing things like code compilers in the Haskell community or such in order to be able for like people in the Web 2.0 space to be able to seamlessly deploy code into the blockchain world, which offers them all the benefits that people have been sort of spouting for years, right? Decentralization, no ability to do takebacks or freeze certain data transfers or transactions. All of those are much better realized when it's actually available to the larger developer community. And so as of right now, I would say it's much more important to figure out how we can seamlessly create a world where it doesn't matter what language you code in, but you can deploy it in a distributed system with the same amount of ease that you would in regular software.
I'm really sure that all the barriers will be solved one day, and hopefully we can all be joined as a global community. And I mean, we see loads of kind of new like crypto adoption in the real estate market. But people always say like, well, we could also see a fractional property ownership becoming more like popular. Would you expand a bit more on this phenomenon, and what's your kind of personal thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the traditional real estate world, I think if we were to think about it, it's a gorilla of an industry. It's an 800-pound gorilla, and it's very slow to move. I would say, much like how our own team on the Republic Digital Real Estate side has tackled it, is that they've actually taken a much more interesting and pioneering bet on digital real estate, right? So the same concepts of owning a parcel of land and being able to develop on it and create real productivity on it is what digital real estate presents against the real world. the real world is muddled with speculators and overseas buyers who increase the rental rates and prices of housing all over the world, so long as it's to their pleasing. But the opportunity we have here in the digital real estate world, and specifically within these digital universes, is to implement very new and cool mechanisms to maximize the productivity of this land, as opposed to just make them speculative ghost towns. And one great example of this is sort of debuted in one of the companies that we are closely advising, called Star Atlas, which is one of the most exciting games coming and being built on the Solana blockchain. And so with that in mind, what we did with the land in Star Atlas is to actually say that nobody actually has to, there's no such thing as landlords or rent. Instead, what we do is actually, as a reference to a more obscure economist called Henry George, implement something called a land value tax. And this land value tax essentially asserts that as you are a land operator, not a land owner. And in this sense, with the Star Atlas's organization and any of its distributed participants will be able to determine what level of revenue these parcels are expected to generate, and be able to charge a tax on that land towards the land operators, so that we highly disincentivize people from just sitting on land and doing nothing with it and essentially running themselves into the red. So that is an example of how we think digital real estate is really going to change the whole game, whether it's fractionalized or not. I think the true innovations are to be able to explore what we haven't been able to in the real world at scale.
Thanks so much for explaining. That's so accelerating. And I think by blurring the boundary of by blurring the concept of ownership, you create a new kind of authority. Like you said, you're an operator, not just the owner, and you have a sense of kind of responsibility, and you feel more kind of engaged, with this identity. Absolutely. That's so exciting. And like we mentioned, we kept talking about, digital, something that's intangible, rather kind of virtual. And I think that's what kind of the future holds for crypto as well. But it's getting more and more kind of down to earth. More and more people are now kind of aware of what's been going on in the crypto world, and whether it's celebrity, influencers, any developer that's kind of, from a traditional kind of institution or media now know about crypto, they want to kind of invest in it. Do you think that would potentially put some threat in really kind of in the crypto community by, having so many new fresh face and stuff?
So I see the introduction of fresh faces as a net positive. Though I believe a lot of new, excited, and potentially undereducated retail users could overinflate the valuations of a lot of these protocols. I do believe that having people come in from different backgrounds and different industries with different interests is ultimately going to help us create a more sophisticated and mature market, whereby not everything is just correlated to Bitcoin. And what I mean is we've seen some meaningful, call it decoupling or breakdown of this correlation between crypto, specifically in reference to Bitcoin, and then in the world of DeFi and NFT art, entertainment, gaming. I believe the more verticals that find a natural fit in integrating with the crypto world will, in the long run, help us diversify and create real hedges in the market, so that we don't see these binary bull markets and bears all the time, but rather that different sub-industries or different verticals are performing at different levels of progress, depending on the environment.
I really do agree. These people also bringing new kind of perspectives and new concepts of their own interpretation or their own contribution towards the crypto industry, and I think is a rather good thing. And just to wrap up the interview, is there anything else you want to say to the audiences, or anything you want to maybe advocate on regarding whether it's just Republic or the whole crypto community?
Yeah, I would say if you're out there and you're an aspiring angel investor, I would certainly say don't count crypto out of your portfolio. And if you are a pure crypto investor, I would also certainly vouch for the idea of being able to read across several different verticals, find what you're interested in. The thing about crypto is that currently it requires a lot of knowledge, and we are lucky to live in an informational age where you can acquire a lot of that information at your fingertips. And so, yeah, I would encourage everyone just to do ample amounts of research, really get into the technology, see how it's going to, change the world and what excites you, and then become your own expert. And we're going to need more of those going forward.
Yeah, definitely. You never know what's around the corner, guys. Yeah, you never know. So give everything a go, and crypto's gates is always opened for everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
And again, if anyone has any question, if you ever want to, get to know more about Republic Crypto, get in touch. And again, we have all the social handles linked down below, and you know where to find Alex and us. So thank you so much, guys. See you next time.